So to start, I just want to thank you guys for watching. As always, I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. I don't know if I have to say that every video, but nowadays I'd rather say it just to be safe. This video, and it kind of ties into what I was talking about in my first video with the courts being way too lenient sometimes. If this is the case that I think it is, which I hope I have the right one, but she was on her like second or third DUI. She had open containers. She blew in like the super drunk range, if I remember correctly, and they still gave her a really good plea bargain. So I thought we'd watch it since it kind of tied into what I was talking about.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I really hope it's the right one. I kind of forgot.
This file 252868OD here today for sentencing. Back on October 23rd of last year, he entered a plea of guilty to a charge of operating while intoxicated. At that time, I was told a private substance abuse assessment was going to be obtained. Asked that our probation department, ran a criminal and driving history. All of that has been received. So with that, we are able to proceed to sentencing this morning. Case was resolved at the time of a pre-trial conference with the Allegan City Attorney. And at that time, the City Attorney's Office agreed to waive their presence at your sentencing. So with that, Ms. Campice, this is your chance to tell me anything you would like to for your sentencing this morning.
Maybe it's not the right one.
On November 20th, I entered an inpatient alcohol a 90-day inpatient rehab facility for my alcoholism. I'm now 64 days sober. I have been complying with all the rules. There's different stages I have to do. And I actually, one of the workers here at the home I'm staying in is Harbor House. The company has reached for recovery. And I received a letter from one of the employees here, and it brought me to tears seeing how the work I'm doing is being noticed by others. I am more committed now than ever to my sobriety. We go through daily steps. I attend daily meetings. I've acquired a sponsor. I am doing everything I can in my ability.
You know, I think the judge mentions this too, but she mentioned how she got into a rehab facility because she's out on bond, which kind of makes sense to do, I guess. But there's a lot of people that go into rehab to basically try to get out of their jail sentence. And then, you know, as soon as they get out of jail or end up not getting jail time, they go right back to doing what they were doing. There's, you know, AA sheets that you can get where you can bring them to meetings and have the people there sign them so you can show the judge. But a lot of people always do this stuff after they get arrested, and I'm sure her attorney recommended it to her. But that's the only reason they do it. So I hope she takes it seriously, because if you're trying to get sober, trying to get clean, and be serious about recovery, unless you're honest with yourself, it's not going to matter. And you'll know whether you're being honest with yourself or not. You know, if you're doing it for other reasons and you're still doing the same things or hanging out with the same people or talking to the same people, you know, it's not going to matter. You have to really just completely start your life over and, you know, delete numbers out of your phone, stop talking to old friends. Otherwise, you pretty much already relapsed already. But I just thought it was interesting that she talked about going there, because that's kind of her goal is to use that in exchange for going to jail.
To continue with my sobriety, not only here, but once I graduate the program and am back. I did all of my things. I know there was some confusion in December about whether or not I did my assessment. I was able to locate that and show that I did in fact complete all the steps needed. Um, when I first came in here, still had it in my head that I wanted to go on this cruise that my entire family was going on in February. I've since then realized that I am not ready for that yet and have canceled that, maybe permanently for a much later time, but I'm taking it day by day, and I really feel stronger than I have in a very long time. And I'm sorry about the background noise. Our house has a community presenter for resources currently.
Sir Peniente, this case also involved a pre-sentence investigation. Have you had an opportunity to review that with Ms. Campice? If so, do you have any additions, deletions, or corrections to that you'd like to make?
I believe I had sent that a month ago, but otherwise no additions or corrections. I would make allocution, however.
Okay. This is your chance to tell me anything you'd like to on behalf of your client for her sentencing.
Thank you, Your Honor. So for Ms. Campice, admittingly, this isn't the first time we've had an issue like this, and she understands that she's had a long-standing problem, and her failure is that she believed she could handle it on her own, that if she had her husband and her family around helping her, and she'd be fine. That was a mistake. And it was a mistake, and she chose to drive, and she could have endangered others, and she understands that. In considering that, as well as her history, the court may be inclined to sentence her to jail time. However, as the court has heard, she's currently staying at Harbor House.
Speaking of endangering others, the reason why drinking and driving is just the absolute worst idea ever. A few years ago, I seen a case where a girl I don't remember if she was working at a bar or working at a strip club, but she had a couple drinks, and she really did only have like two. Like, she blew, I think it was either right at the legal limit or barely over. But as she was driving to her friend's house, it was dark out, it was a busy street. Somebody had tried crossing the road after an SUV, so she didn't see the person crossing because the SUV was in the way, so she didn't have as much time to react. And she ended up hitting the lady and killing her. And when the police got there, they did their investigation stuff. They were about ready to wrap up. And one of them mentioned that they smelled just a very, faint hint of alcohol. So they gave her a breathalyzer, and she blew, like I said, it was right at the legal limit. It was not much, and she ended up getting charged with it. Since the lady died, she ended up getting charged with a DUI causing death. So it's, even if you can drive, it doesn't matter. All it takes is for somebody else to make a mistake or something like that, where I do believe it was a legitimate accident. And when they even called her family mentioned that they told her to stop walking on that street and stop walking so close to the road, especially at night, because it's a busy street, and she's almost got hit before. So it was just a really unfortunate accident, and because she had alcohol in her system, that was it. It pretty much ruined her life. So it's just not worth it. You can't trust other people, even if you can drive okay.
Or were to sentence her to an extensive time of jail, she would likely lose that sober living home that she's currently staying at. They also keep her honest, and she gets drug tested. She attends meetings. admittingly, it's not a lockdown facility. Nothing stopping Sharif from getting up and necessarily leaving, except losing her place, losing her pride itself, and bringing shame to her family. She's taken steps on her own, recognizing the concerns and recognizing the danger that she can place others in. But considering the enormity of the steps that she has taken on her own, entering a 90-day program, I would ask that the court place her on a term of probation for 2 years. Thank you.
Ms. Campice, a lot of people do what you do when they have a very serious criminal case pending, decide to voluntarily put themselves into treatment, which is great. It
Yeah,
doesn't avoid
exactly.
criminal consequences. It's more of a matter of personal health, and that's what you've done in this case. We've been keeping this case open for you for a long period of time because of the program that you're in. And it looks like that goes back to November of last year. So you must be just about done with that program. When?
I mean, the best thing you're going to do if you're going to do that is talk to them ahead of time and find one that they approve of that's an actual, like, lockdown rehab, because that's going to be your best chance of getting credit for it.
The completion date.
My commencement date is currently February 18th.
I have reviewed the substance abuse assessment that was provided to the court through Arbor Circle. I've also reviewed the pre-sentence investigation together with all the materials that were in our court file. And Ms. Campice, you know better than anyone what an incredible break you got here, because you should be a convicted felon right now.
Okay, so this is the one that I was thinking of. Yeah, she got a hell of a deal. And that's where I think, especially on DUI, I think they go way too lenient sometimes. And I know everybody has their own opinion. Everybody has different stuff that they think they should be harsher on or lenient on. DUI just happens to be mine, just because it's dangerous and stupid, and you could easily kill somebody. And I've seen it countless times where people get second, third DUI, and they give them a plea bargain to plead guilty to DUI first, which is just a misdemeanor, like a 90-day misdemeanor, I think, instead of 1 year. And then they basically end up just getting probation and fines.
This was your third offense, drunk driving, and the case never even got out of the city attorney's office. They kept it as a first offense and had you plead guilty to that, which is something they have the right to do, but I have to look at everything for purposes of sentencing. For purposes of sentencing, you were convicted of operating while impaired on April 19th of the year 2000. Were convicted again of operating while intoxicated on December 11th of 2017. Were convicted a third time of operating while intoxicated, in this case on October 19th of last year, 2025. On this case, your blood alcohol level was up at a super drunk driving level of 0.17. Police also found you with additional open alcohol. You had an open can of some kind of hard seltzer that was in your purse when you were arrested.
Yeah, so 0.17, third DUI, open container, or OWI, I forgot how this court labels it, but they dropped it down to first, and I'm assuming they dropped the open container. That probably got dismissed also with the plea deal. So yeah, she should really be looking at like significant time, and she's not really looking at much other than fines and probation.
Again, even with all that, the city attorney's office allowed you to plead guilty as a first offense, but I do again have to consider the fact this is your third drinking and driving offense. There are various
She's getting
aspects that I
nervous.
have to consider as a judge for sentencing. Punishment, which just means to punish someone for what they did. Protecting the public from someone who's a public safety risk. Trying to deter others that they don't do the same thing that the defendant did. And finally, rehabilitation, which is for the benefit of the defendant. What you have done will take care of that fourth portion of sentencing, the rehabilitation. You've been involved in a program that's going to benefit you for purposes of your alcoholism. But you're not here, of course, for alcoholism. Most alcoholics never see the inside of the courtroom. You're here because you're drinking, then involved getting behind the wheel of a car and driving, not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. So I do have to consider for purposes of sentencing the aspects of punishment, protection of the public from a drunk driver, and to deter others from doing the same thing. And I also will consider the fact that you've been involved in a 90-day rehab program. On this charge of operating while intoxicated, since this is your third offense, we'll place you on probation for a period of 24 months. And that will be with substance abuse counseling as directed by the probation department. Standard condition of probation for this offense is that you not possess or consume any alcohol, marijuana, or any illegal controlled substances other than those prescribed to you by a medical professional. They will have the authority to check you for that here at the probation department, have you checked by the police at your home, and after your release, I'm going to have you physically monitored for alcohol for the first 30 days, utilizing either the scram or sober leaf methods at the discretion of the probation department. I'm not sure what your license status is, given that this plea took care of probably all of the suspension a while back, but in any event, a condition of probation is going to be that you not operate a motor vehicle outside of any restrictions or suspensions of the Secretary of State's office. On this charge, they'll also have you complete a victim impact panel. On the charge of operating while intoxicated first offense, the fine is $500. Court costs are $400. State costs and fees are $125. There is a $720 oversight fee for that term of probation, and a private assessment was done in this case. Total is $1,745. Court file shows you released from jail on a PR bond, so all of that is due. You will have the entire time on probation to pay that amount on a monthly payment plan set up through the probation department. Finally, for the reasons as stated on the record, normally a person who has a third offense, drinking and driving offense, would be receiving about a 60 to 90-day jail sentence, but for the factors I've already indicated here, we'll impose a jail term of 20 days in the Allegheny County Jail. I will show credit for 1 day already served. You will need to report to the Allegheny County Jail to begin that sentence on Friday, February 20th by 3 p.m. or after that time, a bench warrant would be issued. If you are employed, I would have no opposition to work release if you comply and qualify under the jail's work release program. Our probation department is going to contact you and they're going to set up that probation order over the telephone. They are going to need a contact number for you. What telephone number can they reach you at this morning?
616-438-1331. And Your Honor, I'm scheduled to have shoulder surgery on February 24th. I have a dislocated AC joint, and they have to take tendons from behind my knee to repair the tendons in my shoulder. I'm unsure of the recovery time for that.
Provide medical proof of that to the probation officer, and she can contact me and we'll work with that, but make sure you just can provide them with the documentation for that, okay?
Okay.
Again, the probation department will contact you at the number you just gave us. They will set up that probation order. And finally, regarding your probationary sentence, we'll inform you that you are eligible to be discharged at the halfway point if all the terms and conditions of your probationary sentence have been completed at that time. So in your case, you could have probation completed in as soon as 12 months. So with that, you are all set today. Be expecting a telephone call at the number you just gave us. Good luck to you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Penante.
Yeah, it's a really good deal. I mean, 20 days in jail. 1 day time served, so that's 19. Like 3 days good time, so that's 16. You know, you go in at later at night, so I forgot what time he said, but if she goes in at 4, your release day is always like 8 in the morning. So, I mean, she's really only doing 2 weeks. And she has 2 months before she has to go, and she can do work release, which you can literally... I mean, if she gets a job right now, she would be able to leave jail every morning to go to work. So, I mean, it's a pretty good deal. You know, I was surprised that she didn't get more time. I'm surprised they even gave her the first offense and dropped the open container. But that's why it's just not worth it. So, you know, I hope she gets clean. I hope she stays sober. And yeah, I guess that's it for today. So I think I have a few other videos that I have to dig through. I know I recorded a bunch of stuff, I just haven't watched it all yet. So I will dig through that. And yeah, hopefully I'll find something else to put up. But if not, I should be back tomorrow.